Alright, what's up, everybody? I'm Chris, and welcome to the Rank Guy Podcast, a podcast where I, Chris, random guy, ranks things. From movies to music to sports to all things pop culture and anything else I feel like talking about. Nothing is S tiered, everything is just numbered. That's right, this is the Rank Guy Podcast, and I am Chris, your host. And on the very first episode of the podcast, we are going to be ranking Christopher Nolan movies from worst to best. Can you really say worst? All his movies are pretty primo, pretty good. So I don't really think he has a worst movie, if I'm being honest. But we're gonna go from my least favorite to my favorite. Nolan is my favorite director, so yeah, this is going to be a really interesting podcast. I get to talk about my favorite director, majority of his movies. So I think for this podcast, I'm going to skip three movies. Obviously, the following: Memento and Insomnia. Those are probably the movies I'm least familiar with his. Like, I've seen Memento recently, kind of wasn't into it. Got about halfway and I was like, I don't think this is for me. Insomnia I saw years back. Like, the only thing I remember about that movie is the Al Pacino running scene. And then the following, never seen. So I'm gonna not rank those movies just because I don't think I have proper context and sort of proper appreciation for those movies. I think other people have talked about those movies and have more of appreciation. This is gonna mainly talk about his major film filmographies. So yeah. Obviously, this is going to be an interesting because he has the Odyssey coming up. Haven't had a chance to see it yet. I know some reviews are coming out, glowing reviews. I think the backlash to it has kind of all been sort of overhyped. I think he's going to do really good. Will not be surprised if this vaults up to number one on my list. But yeah, so I think this list will give you an idea for who am I as a person and how I see things. So it's going to be a different list than I think most people have put out there. A lot of people are doing Nolan retrospectives, and I thought, you know what, let me give my take because he is my favorite director. So yeah, so let's start it off. All right, so it's gonna be 9 movies. Like I said, not gonna have Memento, Insomnia, or the following. So yeah, so it's gonna be his sort of last 9 movies. So number 9 might be my most controversial take, and I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer. The reason why I have this as my least favorite Nolan movie is I've only seen it once. Never really felt the need to want to go revisit it. Like, it's a good movie, well acted. When I saw it, I enjoyed it thoroughly, but it just wasn't for me. For the most part, not to say it was like a bad movie, but yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea or what I liked. Like, the acting was phenomenal. You know, Cillian Murphy was amazing. Robert Downey Jr. was really good. Casey Affleck was really good in the movie. Florence Pugh's really good in the movie. Everybody's really good in the movie. I don't think there's a bad performance in the movie, but it just wasn't for me. Like, it didn't connect with me like his other movies. So that's kind of why I have it as my least favorite. I know some people have it as their favorite, and that's fine. Like, it wasn't like I said, it wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to watch this anymore. But it's just something I never thought about going and revisiting from him. So it's my least favorite of his work. Number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. I put this at number 8. It is a movie that I have revisited a lot. It's just it has a lot of flaws. Some of the flaws are goofy in a way. Like, I think Marion Cotillard's Talia al Ghul kind of awful for the most part. But the action sequences are really good. The beginning of the movies are really good. I love Tom Hardy's Bane. I think a lot of people have a problem with it. I didn't. Like, I think everything he did with the character was really good, really spot on. I know as like years have gone by, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, people have sort of not enjoyed. But I thought, I love him in the movie. Anne Hathaway as Catwoman was really, really good. So it's a really good movie. Like, you go in, you can watch it at parts. It's a little bit long. I think they could have chopped off about 10 or 15 minutes in the movie, and it probably would have made it better. But yeah, I think he was just going for it. He wanted to get everything that he wanted in the movie in it, and there's nothing really wrong with it. It's well directed. The action sequences are amazing. Like I said, the prologue for that movie, which is the Bane plane scene, is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best sort of cinema scenes that I've seen to begin a movie, up there with The Dark Knight, obviously, which is the, prologue of all prologue. I think we see that now where people are like, let me show a clip of my movie. I think The Dark Knight was really the first movie to begin that, where it's not a trailer, you're kind of getting an introspective of the movie. But I thought the Dark Knight Rises prologue with Bane was really good. It like set up the tone for the movie. It showed up the action is going to have crazy action sequences. The football field explosion. Bane. Should I do my Bane voice right now? What a lovely, lovely voice. The whole sort of scene on the football field. Everything's really good. Everything ties in, really well. I think it's just a really good movie, but like it has its flaws. A bit long. Some of the performances are not up to par for what you would think for a Nolan movie, and just kind of takes you out towards the middle part of the movie, and it picks back up at the end. But yeah, so I go Dark Knight Rises as my eighth favorite Nolan movie. Let's say it that way. Eighth favorite Nolan movie. Number 7. I'm gonna go with Dunkirk. Again, like Oppenheimer, I've revisited this movie more probably than I have Oppenheimer. I've seen it quite a few times since its initial release. But yeah, it's just a movie that just isn't something that where I'm like, oh, it's a spectacular movie. It's just not something where I'm like, oh, it's one of my favorite of his. Like, I mean, but that's the problem when you're ranking Christopher Nolan movies. Like, there's no fat to trim. So a movie that somebody will have at number 1 is going to be somebody's number 9, And Dunkirk, well, I think a lot of people have it as his top. It's a movie, I remember seeing it opening night in IMAX and, being blown away. But, like, the rewatchability of it, I think I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times since it came out, which is beyond the lower end of all the other Nolan movies that I've seen multiple times. Yeah, it's just missing just a little something for me to put it up higher on the list. But I think with like the time manipulation that the movie has, I think is really cool. Obviously the beach scenes and like the explosion part where like the plane drops the bombs and everything about that is just amazing. And yeah, it's a really good movie. But it's just something that I'm like, oh man, I need to pop in Dunkirk right now and watch it. It's just not one of those movies for me. All right, next up on the list, number 6 is going to be Inception. Might be a little low for someone, especially for other people, but I just think his other movies that he has kind of put this one movie down for me. Again, another movie, amazing performances, sort of, studying visuals. That's kind of the main thing of all of Nolan movies. I think looking back on this movie to kind of see where everything was and everything, kind of the streak he was on, it's kind of crazy. Like he did Batman Begins, Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, then The Dark Knight Rises, and Interstellar, just kind of everything all like back to back in like I think a 6 or 7 year span to do that many amazing movies. It's pretty crazy. But he has a vision for a movie and he's able to sort of, materialize it rather quickly. And I think Inception is one of those movies that he said he had in his mind for a long time, and you can kind of tell that, it's a movie that he put a lot of heart and a lot of thought in. And it's one of the, all the action sequences of the movie, the plot twist at the end with the spinning thing, and you're kind of wondering what's going on, that leaves you on a cliffhanger. It's a really good movie. I think, like I said, the performances from Leo in the movie is amazing. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's really good. Tom Hardy, kind of the movie that brought him into the forefront of like mainstream. But yeah, everybody's really good in the movie. The last like 30 minutes are, once they go into the dream world, it might be even longer, 30 minutes, last hour. It's really intense, it's really good, and it's a great movie. You can pick up anywhere, and you're kind of like, oh, this is it, let's strap in. This is the part, now I'm ready to go. So yeah, number 6 is going to be Inception. Number 5, I'm going to go Batman Begins. Again, one of my You know why? I think it might be higher on some people's list. Some people might have this as like a lower tier Nolan movie, but I love this movie. I watch it at least once every couple of months. It's just a movie that it's really good. I mean, it's just fast paced, in your face. The scene go from one scene to the other. The sort of the way it retells the Batman origin, adding the Ra's al Ghul, ninja aspect to everything, and just I think all the mob stuff with Tom Wilkinson at Falcone is really good. Cillian Murphy is great in it as Scarecrow. I think just every beat in that movie is really good, and it just draws you in, and it's one of the better. I think it's a top tier comic book movie. Like, I think it's probably like in the top 4 for me of like best comic book movies of all time. And yeah, I love it. I watch it again and again, just because I think it just goes so well. Just how it sort of, moves in pacing, the pacing of the movie. Nothing stays too long. It kind of, goes fast. It doesn't really, let you sort of marinate in things. It just, break beat after beat after beat after beat. And it does it in a really good way where it doesn't feel rushed, and you can just catch it at any time and be like, all right, this is what I'm talking about. So number 5 of my Nolan rankings is going to be Batman Begins. And I'll recap right now. So again, number 9, Oppenheimer. Number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 7, Dunkirk. Number 6, Inception. Number 5, Batman Begins. All right, now we're gonna go number 4. Going to be Interstellar. So Interstellar is my 4th favorite Nolan movie. Again, amazing movie. Groundbreaking in so many ways with all the space and the quantum physics and everything. I think Matthew McConaughey is an elite in this movie, like just really, really good. Everybody in the movie, again, everybody. Nolan. That's one thing Nolan does really well, is he knows how to cast his movie, and whoever his main casting director is, they should get props because they nail everything. And from like a young Timothy Chalamet in this movie, and like going up to see him as Casey Affleck it's a really good sort of switch. And even Topher Grace is in this movie, and he's really good in it. But yeah, one of his best movies. All the stuff in space, just everything about this movie is just next level. Obviously, the Matt Damon twist where you weren't expecting Matt Damon, all of a sudden Matt Damon comes in the movie playing Q-Man, which is pretty funny, right? His character's name is Q-Man, and he's kind of the worst character in the movie. But everything about this movie's, really good. What can I say? Nolan is the best director, I think. I don't think he has a bad movie, of his major films. I don't think he has a miss in it. All right, so that was number 4. Number 3, I'm gonna go with The Prestige at number 3. Some people might have this movie higher. I think it's a movie that's, the story of the movie is kind of crazy. That's kind of like listening to people talk about podcasts and listening to Nolan talk about it. Like, this movie was shot and produced pretty quick. I think it was like a 6-month from like when it was in pre-production to when it was in final production. So to have that, and like the way it's done, is like the way the final product came out, it doesn't feel rushed at all. It's an amazing movie. The actors, again, performances again, from Hugh Jackman to Christian Bale, obviously, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson. Just everybody in the movie is really, really, really good. Rebecca Hall's good in the movie. David Bowie in the movie. It's kind of just shows how good Christopher Nolan is at, like, I think that's his most underrated aspect, besides all the, bringing visuals and using practical effects and everything. He, casts his movies perfectly, and he sees a vision for who he wants to play, and he puts them in there. And I think everybody he puts in a position, for the most part, nails it. All right, number 2. So this might be controversial, but these are my opinions and my ranking. The Dark Knight, coming in at number 2. The Dark Knight probably has the most iconic performance in a Christopher Nolan movie, with Heath Ledger's The Joker. Again, like the prologue, just this movie has set the stage, I think, for modern, blockbuster cinema. From using the IMAX cameras to, the performances and sort of, you know, big budget movies getting a chance to show what they can do in like something like the Oscars. I think, this movie has changed, everything, right? Like before this movie, there was only 5 movies nominated for the Academy Awards. Now there's 10 movies. IMAX, more people are taking IMAX seriously. But yeah, it's like this movie has changed the way, you know, film and cinema has sort of been seen. Just under, my number one movie, just because the number one movie, which if you know Nolan's movies, you probably tell, just it's just I love this movie. I remember seeing it in the movie theaters. I worked at a movie theater at the time. We saw it like the Wednesday before it came out, and like just being like blown away. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning and we started watching it. Didn't get home till like 6 in the morning, and like wasn't tired and just completely captivated with the movie. And it's just one of the best movies of all time, just as a film. Like if I rank it out of Christopher Nolan's films and like as my favorite films, it probably goes up there above the number one. But there's a reason why I have the number one movie that I have as the number one movie. So without further ado, let me recap. So I got Oppenheimer at number 9, The Dark Knight Rises at number 8, number 7, Dunkirk, number 6, Inception, number 5, Batman Begins, number 4, Interstellar, number 3, The Prestige, number 2, The Dark Knight, and number 1, my number 1 favorite Christopher Nolan movie is Tenet. And I know that might be controversial to some. I know it's his most polarizing movie. And I know a lot of people have really strong opinion about this movie. But I think it's his best movie because it is Christopher Nolan unabashedly just doing what he wants to do. And it's just amazing movie. Like, it's a spectacle, from the action sequences, from the story, from the performances. Like everything about this movie just is amazing, right? It's just Nolan being Nolan and not being like afraid to just make something. I think like the running joke about the movie is that like the crew like working on the movie didn't know what the movie was about or had any understanding of what the movie was. But I think like when you see it all comes together, it's just, to me, it's just a phenomenal piece of big budget action filmmaking, and just punches you in the face time and time again. Amazing performances, Robert Pattinson, John David Washington. I forgot the dude who plays the Russian bad guy is awesome in the movie. It's just, it's elite performances. It's just a crazy thrill ride. You never know what's gonna happen. And like I remember when I didn't see this movie in the theater because I was like scared, because like so many people were like dogging it and saying it's terrible and it wasn't good. And obviously it was like at the time of like peak COVID kind of, right? And so like nobody was really going to the movie, so I was like, do I really want to go and watch a Nolan movie and get COVID for a Christopher Nolan movie that's gonna kind of blow and not be good? So I was like I was afraid when I first saw the movie. I mean, I was afraid to go see the movie. So I really didn't see the movie until it came out on streaming. And yeah, and I was like, okay, let me hunker down and watch this and like develop my own opinion. And I think I watched it like 5 times in 3 days. Like, I watched it like back to back. Like that. I think I watched it the first time and I digested it. Then I watched it like 2 times back to back. And then I waited another day, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it later on that night. It's just, I remember being completely like captivated, and like with all the theories about the space, about the time, and how everything sort of, goes, and like is Robert Pattinson the little boy, and just sort of everything that sort of, goes with the movie and stuff, and just like looking at all the YouTube videos and stuff. And it was kind of cool because like people already had, their predictions for them. I mean, had their opinions and sort of were able to have all their theories. So I was able to go look up everything and kind of completely immerse myself in the theories for the movie. But just like watching it, like I watched it recently and I was just like, this movie's like amazing. Like you can take all the sort of stuff you don't like about Nolan movies and all the sort of like pretentiousness some people think of it, but it's just a fun action movie. Moves incredibly well. It's just a really good movie, and I think like it's why it's my favorite Nolan movie because it's just him doing what he wants to do. And he was like, they never gave me a Bond movie, so I'm gonna make up the most pretentious Bond movie of all time, and just sort of have all these crazy like sort of just manipulating time and things going backwards. And like even if you watch it, you can tell that he had this idea for this movie in his head for years. So like even Memento has like a time manipulation backwards sort of scene in the beginning of the movie, and I just think it's kind of crazy that like this is where you know where he went and how he thinks about movies. It's like nothing is. He tried to kind of connects all his movies together, and I think this is like his peak of like putting everything together and making like the best big blockbuster movie possible. It's not like his most art house movie or his most storytelling driven movie. It's just like let me put a bunch of stuff together, and I think it all works. And I think it's a movie you have to watch like 2 or 3 times. Like I think the first time you're just in shock by everything you're seeing, and then once you kind of able to settle down and get the story in and see everything, then it just becomes it's just an amazing like work of art. So yeah, so those are my Christopher Nolan movie rankings. I'll go again over it one more time. Oppenheimer at number 9, Dark Knight Rises at number 8, Dunkirk at number 7, Inception at number 6, Batman Begins at 5, Interstellar 4, The Prestige 3, The Dark Knight 2, and my number 1 favorite Christopher Nolan movie is going to be Tenet. If you don't agree with anything, write in the comments. If you agree with it, also write in the comments, whatever the people say. Give me a like, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'm using my sort of music channel to start launch this thing. But if this podcast takes off and I do more of them, then I will make my own channel for this podcast. But yeah, so this is the Rank Guy podcast, ranking Christopher Nolan movies from my favorite to the worst. Remember, nothing is S tiered, everything is numbered. Come back, listen to it again. Comment if you like what you hear. If you liked what you hear, give me a thumbs up. If you liked what you hear, I'll probably do one next week. Try to do it weekly, maybe double weekly, depending on if anything pops in my head. Give me ideas of things you want me to rank in the comments too. Peace.